I am live. I am live on YouTube. This is interesting. The YouTube live streaming interface just told me that I can earn money. I can earn money by inserting an ad in my live stream. Now that is a provocative choice. Well, let's go back here, and before we start tonight, technically I'm not supposed to be starting yet. I'm 2 minutes early. So, do we want to turn on the webcam today? Oh, there's the webcam. So we're going to start actually with a speed paint. Because yesterday, if you guys will recall, I was working on, I'm going to guess it was probably this shot. I have to look because I was doing a bunch of web development stuff today for clients, and so my recent files list includes some stuff that definitely is not animation. But this is the shot I was working on last night. Well, I guess I'll say I believe when I was live streaming last, I did the pencil test for this shot. So let's go ahead and allow ourselves the distinct pleasure of looking at this shot as it flows. So that's it. That's what we were working on yesterday. And I actually went ahead and started doing ink and paint after I finished live streaming. I just was motivated. So here's the speed paint. Let's just let this run. I'll turn this to best quality full, so it's as sharp as it can be. And this is about 3 minutes long. Here, so yeah, that's right. Now I remember I had the pencil test, and what I decided to do, as you can see here, is just use the freehand path tool to just draw shapes of color. And I figured, he's so small on the screen that we probably can get away with doing that, and then we will actually do the ink lines, as it were, over top of the solid shapes of color, and then we'll kind of hide all the roughness of it with the shadowing. So I have my sniffer tonight, which is good old-fashioned spiced rum, and frankly, I better not drink it too fast or it'll hit me like a ton of bricks. So yeah, I just, in the live stream yesterday, I believe I had all the keyframes blocked in. The more I looked at it, the more I realized I could just do this kind of the fast way. So yeah, there I'm doing and I think what I did there was when I was recording this, I kind of went to actual size so you could see that the level of detail that's required on this shot is really quite modest. Okay, so there you've got the shadows, and then I think I used a transform mask because Luca was really a little bit too big in the frame. And by the way, don't let me forget, friends, I believe that when I finally rendered this and stuck it in the show, I think I forgot to turn the transform mask back on. So I need to check that, because if I did forget, I really need to re-render it, because as I say, Luca was... So this was a weird technique. What I did was I actually just drew all the monkey tail shapes over top of each other, and then went to each subsequent frame and erased stuff to make it work. A bit of a backwards, if not backwards, at least unconventional approach, but hey, it worked. And then I just kind of blocked in monkeys action. I believe this was me kind of reviewing what I had done, and then I adjusted the timing, to pack it all closer together. But I was actually really, really, really happy with how it came out, and had a lot of fun punching up the matte painting, or the background. really punching up the detail to just kind of like make it work, you know. So who's here? I got one concurrent viewer, and I guess this is me just reviewing how things are going, reveling in the glory of my wonderful shot that I completed. Oh yeah, and then here's where I was punching up the, you know, once you saw it and the camera move, you could tell where, you know, detail was needed, and you can see it's less about making it sharp than it is about getting contrast in there. Very much a throwback to the approach of traditional matte painting in the days of real film, meaning actual photographic film, you know. Okay, so this is pretty much the end of it right here. Okay, so that's fine. I'm going to delete this out of my Vegas timeline because it doesn't need to be in there, and we will clean project media. So, is there anything more to say about this? Well, I will say, like I said, the flow of it feels good to me. I love the way Luca's just got literally one frame of motion blur here that looks just terrible. Look at that. He's all distended and twisted, but because it's just one frame, it just flows right into this. And I must say, I'm somewhat proud of it. Okay, so hey Ross, what's going on, buddy? Okay, so where are we at then? Well, we've got we panned up to monkey, and actually I need to look at that thing I said with the transform mask. I think that Luca is actually too large in this, and I'm pretty sure I mucked it up when I rendered it. So let's go back to shot, what is that, 18? Okay, so yeah, this is all from the web server. The web server, my friends, the web server. Scenes, I hit the E key to go to episode 3. And let's open up this, and I'll betcha. Yep, look at that. There we go. Okay, and guess what? That elucidates a problem. Look at that. Okay, that's all right. So we have a problem to solve, and that's good news because that means we have to work together to solve the problem. Well, let's pack in the background, and let's take a moment to think. Thinking is good practice when you have a technical problem to solve. So here's what we've got. Okay, we've got monkey's arm and monkey in separate layers, and the transform mask is on the group. So ostensibly, yeah, actually this is an easy one. Let's take monkey, put him in a group, and what is this one? Okay, that's his shadow. So then we'll take this group, name it monkey, and simply drag the group outside of the Luca group, and now the transform mask will not affect monkey. That was easy, wasn't it? So we'll save our work, Control R, we will re-render it right now. Boy, that was kind of a lot quicker than I thought to fix, actually. So as Professor Farnsworth would say, that's good news, everyone. I've discovered a way to resize one character at a time. Okay, so you can see what's going to happen here. The zoom here is going to be, you know, digital, so we don't need to bake the zoom into the shot of monkey. But what we do need to do is, let's jump over here so you guys can see what's going on here with the... Okay, so you can see here that we have this, I guess I should lock these so you can see it in the preview. So we've just got this rapid zoom in, okay? Well, that doesn't really tell us everything we need to know, I think. So let's go to our image browser and grab this storyboard sheet, because it would probably be easier to do that and just pull up the static image. So this is going to be on the L drive, anime. Look at all these crazy things I have on my computer. Salt and Light Extras is where that came from, and I believe it was somewhere down yonder. And well, I want to thank whoever's here, Ross and whoever else is lurking about, because it always baffles me to think anyone would be even slightly interested in anything I'm doing here. So thanks for hanging out with me and making the hard work of animation just a little bit more fun. Is this in here? You know, I'm being a little bit stupid because I could have just looked in Vegas. Nope, there it is right there. Okay, so that's fine. This is indeed the correct image. So what I'm going to do is switch screens. Go ahead and close this up now. And let's just drag this freaking huge drawing into Krita so we can see what we're dealing with. Okay, so this was... It's probably hard to, ferret out what's going on here, but we just cut to this shot, and then we zoomed in, pushed in like this to Monkey. And then what we do with Monkey is kind of shown here. Now, in my initial storyboard idea, I was going to pan up to Monkey and then have Monkey actually do one of his kind of things, which we still could do. But then the idea is that after he's peering about, he's got his hand up to his head like he's like a visor, like he's peering out. And so I think he goes ahead and does this. The arm comes down, and then what Monkey does is he takes his left hand. This is definitely really hard for you guys to see, but what he does is the hand that's down comes up like this, comes up, and it forms a shape like this, like the soldiers have. They've got sort of these almost Ku Klux Klan type hoodies they wear. So this hand goes up like that, and we're not going to do this at the same time. This is an important point. We're not going to animate both arms at the same time. In the real world, that's what would happen. But in animation land, we want to let the audience digest what's going on. So therefore, what we'll do is we'll have this hand go up, and then this hand will come up, and his tail will whip around and go into his hand. So he's holding his tail as if it were like a spear or something. And then as you can see, this is like his bent legs. So he's basically marching in place. So there's quite a few things about this motion that are going to be kind of fun and interesting to figure out. Ultimately, probably the marching I will do with a transform mask, I expect. He's probably going to be cut off, like, we're not going to see his feet. So this is probably what the framing will be, something like this. So therefore, we'll see his feet come up in the marching motion, but his entire body is going to have to, gesticulate up and down, right? So I trust that makes kind of sense. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and bring back up this shot, because frankly we might as well reuse the background. Alright, so I'm gonna delete Luca, and I'm gonna delete Monkey. We don't need either one of them in there. And then what I'm gonna do is look back at Vegas and look at what the framing was when we finished. Okay, so that's pretty tight. So the first thing we'll do, just to get our bearings, is we'll bake down the background for this shot. So we'll just flatten the image. That's fine. Okay. and then we'll immediately save this because this is going to be shot number 19. Okay, so let's do our homework, or our, our sort of preliminaries. Save this as, and we're going to make a folder. Some of you probably are not as meticulous as I am about files and folders and naming, but by gum, I'm big on it because it really saves you later when you can't remember where you put things. Okay, and then let's do a render immediately. And Krita blew up. That's really unusual. Well, that's okay. We saved the CRA file, so who knows why it blew up. That's not anything to complain about. Krita hasn't blown up like in a long time. That's the first crash I've had in ages. So, and by the way, I will say that I'm still working on my scrape of the SETI I Dreams website. It's been going for 2 days straight. And it seems to be working. wget seems to be doing a great job of scraping the site, and as a result, we have all these RAR files that are all the full-size images of art books and color designs and storyboards and all kinds of stuff from that site. Right now we're up to, I don't know what this size is here, but 145 gigabytes worth of images from anime. Yeah. You need good file order the bigger the project gets. Yes, and this project is big considering I'm into episode 3. So let's reopen Krita. Even if you're working alone. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Taking a sip of my sniffer. Now, I think if you're working alone, it's just you do yourself a service by being organized. So I guess it really doesn't matter what you're doing. It's always better to be organized than not. All right. So, is this going to work? Let's find out. It did. Okay. So now, for this shot, we do not need for it to be full HD. Let's get this back down to where we usually are. So we will scale this to 1280 by 720. Don't tell my distributor. That's going to be our little secret that all the original materials are not really full HD, because there's certain people on the technical side of distribution that tend to have a cow and say that, oh my gosh, you can't do that. But yet, every movie I've ever released has been originally rendered at broadcast HD and then up-res to full HD. What they don't know won't hurt them, and the truth is, no one's ever noticed in 10 years. So, there's that. Okay, so what I was going to do before I was so rudely interrupted by myself is look at the framing of this right here, and then just basically zoom in to that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, the first step I'm going to take here, is I'm going to go image, trim to image size. So that just gets rid of all the extra garbage. And in this case, I don't see any reason why we need to keep this color key around. So get rid of it. And again, before I so rudely interrupted myself, I went to render, and that was when it crashed. So let's see what happens. I just hit Control R. And once again, this is very interesting. Once again, nothing happened. Oh, okay, my bad. That's because there's no animated keyframes. So I better insert one. Yep, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to just assume Monkey's got a complicated move, so I'm going to assume that we're going to want 80 frames at 8 frames per second, so 10 seconds. And we'll just go with that. Control R. And now we need to change this to be going to the correct paths. And we're almost done with the preliminary work, and we'll be able to start getting down and dirty with the with the animation. Now, something to notice here. See how this is JPEG? Okay, just something to be aware of with Krita. As of Krita 5, which has been out for quite a while, obviously, Krita saves your render settings with the Krita file. That's a really good thing, because back in the Krita 4 and prior days, we used to have to put in the render settings every single time. Well, there is one little caveat about that capability, and the caveat is that if you are working on some other project and you change the file format, it will not remember the file format that was stored with the image. Now, I say that with a little reservation, because it could be that I was working on the slideshow for the website client, and it could be because I saved it as JPEG that's why. But it seems to me I remember this being a thing before. It's like it remembers everything except the file format you chose. So just something to be aware of. Explicitly change it to ping. For almost everything I ever do, I do pings. But slideshows on a website are typically an exception to that. So yeah, I'm actually rendering the whole thing out now. Just so that we can bring it into the show and then start doing the animation and blocking the shot in. So if we insert it, we're going to go to Project Media, and we're going to import shot number 03-19, and there it is, 80 frames rendered. Open the sequence. It is an 8 frame per second shot. We drag it into our show, and we change the properties to disable resampling. So as you can see right now, well, it's just 80 frames of that mountain. Okay? So there we go. Back to Krita. So now we're going to do what I said we were going to do, which is we're going to zoom in and find a framing that's pretty close to what we see in that last frame of the shot. We were pretty close on Monkey, I must say. So we actually had this in the upper corner. Oh yeah, we got to really zoom in. In fact, I'm going to just do this again. I'm going to go Image, Trim to Image Size, just keep it from getting obnoxious. Because really we're actually zooming into just this little area. So why is that kind of important? Well, for one thing, we're probably going to want to punch up the background painting a little bit. Okay, that's not quite it. Boy, that's definitely not it. That's kind of amazing how far I was zoomed in. I've got to go from about here. This is about right, but this has to come down to about this corner right there. So Image, Trim to Image Size. I'm just doing that to keep the scaling under control. Okay, so now if I hit Shift, by moving that center point, it's going to be able to bring it to basically what I had in the prior shot. This really needs to come over there just a little bit, and then this needs to be just a little bit tighter. Yep, something like that would be good. Okay, stop that. Image, trim it again, and save our work. Okay, so clearly there's yet another level of zoom to do. So let me think about this for a second. We're going to be going from that zoom a monkey to this is like what I call a Disney jump cut, where you see it in a lot of the between the 50s and the 70s Disney movies, where they'll do these jump cuts where you can tell if they hadn't cut it, it just was taking too long. So here, essentially, we're going to have the same thing. So I'm going to say, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to expand this a little bit more. And we'll leave it like that for the moment. But before we get crazy with... actually, you know what? Come to think of it, let me look at this. The framing on this, that is really tight compared to what we had before. I might not be... Yeah, I guess I'm not really being so smart. Yeah, that's a big jump cut. Okay. So, sorry about that, guys. I'm kind of... As Snoopy said in a classic Peanuts cartoon, I'm just smart enough to know how dumb I am. Okay, so this is really pretty much our shot. So let's paint, shall we? Let's grab our... so we want to just... I'm going to go ahead and fudge it by putting a little bit more real estate here. And for this shot, we're going to go ahead and tighten up these edges. So I don't know if you guys thought you were in for background painting tonight, but you know what? You got to do it. And besides, I love background painting. Is the zoom going to be on ones? Nope. Well, actually, technically that's not true. Actually, the zoom is going to be on ones. And let me think about this for half a second. You know what we should do? I tell you what, normally I wouldn't do this, but I think I will just to be safe. I'm actually going to scale this back up. Sorry, 1920 is silly. I'm going to go ahead and scale it back up so that we've got some wiggle room on the smash zoom. So thanks for that comment, Ross, just because it kind of made me think a little bit. So what we're wanting to do is have a little bit of room for a zoom so we can push from this into 1280 by 720 and have the framing that we need. So it's all good. It's all good. And I may actually make some amendments to the background, to the sky, to make it a little more interesting as well. So save our work. And yeah, let's separate this out real quick. So let's just do the magic wand. Please, magic wand. There you go. So cut and paste. So not really necessary, strictly speaking, but okay. So this is not the most beautiful, you know, like rock formation when you look at it up close. So let's just get some things blocked in here, and then we'll see what we've got to work with. Okay. Brush. Brush, brush, brush. And I'm totally winging it, by the way. Totally winging it. I have no plan. I'm just kind of searching for what's going to feel good here in terms of looking like a kind of a craggy surface. So yeah, to answer your question better, Ross, the answer is that the push in from probably somewhere close to full HD into broadcast HD will happen in Vegas, and the Vegas timeline is running at 24 frames per second. So that means that the zoom actually is on ones, even though the underlying animation in there, in all the shots, is running at 8. Which is kind of a cool thing about Vegas, is it handles multiple frame rates in your video just fine. One thing I thought about yesterday, which I didn't do, was maybe putting a little bit of foliage in the picture. Like, for example, I could see maybe having a little something like this maybe in the foreground. That needs to be really dark, by the way. You know, we could cut in, have a little something like that, and potentially even a little something back here, you know, that type of thing. So we'll leave that for the moment. I'm not going to make that decision right now. Right now I'm just kind of interested in, whoops, wrong layer there, Jack. I'm just interested in rock formations at the moment. So, okay, so man, who's here? We got 6, 7 people floating around, and ain't nobody saying nothing tonight. Nobody's saying nothing. Everybody's being quiet. It must be that my finely tuned matte painting skills are just so engrossing, right? So engrossing that everybody is simply rendered speechless. Yes, I don't take myself too seriously most of the time, I'm happy to say. So this is purely an exercise in really just kind of having fun. Just creating shapes and painting the way light hits surfaces, you know. That's what's fun about it to me, is it's just kind of interesting the way light. Jay Bishop, hey, long time no see. How's it going? It's going pretty good, Jay Bishop. I barely remember you. It's been quite a long time, actually, since you've been around. I think you used to come around, unless I'm remembering wrong, and I very well could be. It seems like it's been, man, a couple years. So what are you doing? Are you an animator, or? Since I'm doing this, I really can't go look you up on YouTube at the moment. I mean, I guess I could if I wanted to, but things are going well here. I've got two 24-minute episodes of this show completed, and we're currently waiting on the distributor paperwork so we can get them out, you know, do that whole thing, get them out to market. And meanwhile, I'm just rocking and rolling on episode 3. It's been a couple of months. Yeah, okay, well, my memory isn't the best. Did the collab of that Welsh animation, The Veil. Okay, that does ring a bell. But like I said, the old memory cells don't always work as well as they should. So, but yeah, The Veil definitely rings. I'm going to look that up, because I remember the name, and I just don't remember what the heck it was. So I'm going to look it up real quick here on YouTube. So, boom. Veil. Oh, yeah. Well, yes. Oh, yeah. You got some happening stuff there on your channel. The Veil. Um, well, you're not going to go too far wrong doing. Hey, Yvette, how you doing? You're not going to go too far wrong doing. I assume I'm not looking at an episode right now, but I'm assuming it's basically comedy, and especially if you're doing short content, I think comedy's definitely the way to go. So there's no mindset here on this painting about it being, um, I'm not necessarily trying to make it photo real, and I'm not necessarily trying to kind of adhere to anime practice or really anything at all. I'm just having fun painting, creating what feels good to me, you know. So, Yvette, how you doing? Um, yeah, she's actually working on her. Oh my God, it's like she's working on like her 10th book now. She's on book 7 of her um, urban fantasy series, and then she actually diverted for a bit to write a short novel, and then she also had the original novel she wrote, which was a standalone. So what is that? I guess that's 9. So right now she's jumped back to um, book 7 in her urban fantasy series. So how are you? Are you still? You said you were making some coin on the Kindle Amazon platform last time we talked. Is that still going well for you? And I think the last time we got specific about it, you had maybe 6 books out. You have a new serial go live today. Awesome. That's super cool. For those who don't know, YS Books, whose actual name is Yvette, um, is an author, and she's written some pretty cool urban fantasy stuff that's on. Well, you can see it on Kindle. And what is the where can they find you? It was. I don't think it's YS Books on. I forgot what your nom de plume is as an author. So if you want to put it in the chat or whatever, if you want to kind of point people if they want to check out your work, I'm happy to endorse it. Yvette is a get shit done kind of person, and that's what I like about Yvette. She just goes and does it. It's something she and Valerie have in common. Oh yeah, Y Stokes, got it. Yvette Stokes. Like I said, the memory cells don't work quite as well as they used to. It's like poor Jay Bishop. I'm like not remembering what he did, and I'm just insulting everybody tonight, I guess. I don't mean to. I don't mean to. I just want to paint. Okay, this is okay. This is working okay. Let's save our work here, and I think I do want to add a little bit of greenery. I think just let's see. What we'll do is let's grab that color in order to keep the value levels kind of similar. And now let's just rotate around the green and then just maybe go a skosh darker, right? And so now what I'm wanting to do is just, some, I don't know, sort of lichen type stuff, just some indication that maybe there's something growing around here. And tip for the painters out there, if you want to make your paintings pop, whatever the general hue theme of the art is, if you literally cut straight across the color wheel, you got the complementary color. That's, for those who don't know, that's known as the complement. And a lot of times, especially in shadows, if you paint into your shadows with the complement, it just makes the depth of the painting, it's a really cheap, fast way to make the painting pop just a little bit more, just by using the complementary color. I think I'm gonna switch to my pencil and just actually almost have this be more of a hand-drawn kind of thing. See what I'm doing? I'm just wanting to just put in some hints here, you know, make this a little bit more alive than it was in the wide shot. And we're allowed to do that because, well, it's my show, so I can do whatever I want. So, N key gives us the actual size. I'm feeling like I want to see a little something here. It's almost like working with colored pencils, actually. It's the way it feels. That's a little too rowdy. Go a little darker and some shadowing in there. Because the light is coming this way, just so you know. The moon is, well, that was something I mentioned yesterday, is I cannot put the moon in the background in this shot. Because the prior shots leading up to it all kind of established the light direction. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a little atmospheric perspective here. That's okay. And then probably wouldn't be the worst thing to, what the heck are these layers? This must be junk I started and didn't do anything with. Okay, so I'm trying to keep the background all together, so I might as well group it and call it BKGD. And then let's add some cloud action. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to totally cheat. What I'm going to do is hit F6 to pull up my... What'd you say, babe? One more time? Oh. Zuko's been generating a bit of sawdust, apparently. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just pull up the quintessential cloud brush. And, you know, I'm just trying to... What am I trying to do? I'm trying to be a little ginger with my strokes here to... It's something I've been practicing a lot lately, actually, is trying to be really vigilant about when the painting or the drawing or the animation is starting to go sideways. And not make excuses for it, not rationalize it away or tell myself it's better than it is or whatever, but really pay attention to that. So, all right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stretch these clouds wide because I really want them to be more like that. And that, I'd say that feels pretty good. I like that. Okay, save our work. Okay, monkey. What are we going to do with monkey? Well, ultimately, we're going to probably have to put monkey in the, in between the, well, he's going to be behind the rocks, but in front of the sky. So technically, monkey should be here. Let's go ahead and block him in, and then we have a fair amount of motion we got to figure out here. So, okay, I'm a little confused here. Where is my... I guess it doesn't matter. I'm a little weirded out here because the original painting had these little spike formations, and I don't remember painting them out, but as I said, the memory doesn't quite work as well as it used to. So what the heck did I do? Was he here? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's do this. Let's go to the rocks. Hit the B key, grab the paintbrush again. And I'm just going to kind of reproduce. So, probably somebody out there is going to be slightly horrified by what I'm doing because I'm totally kludging it. Okay, but this is how you do it. You're going to just block in the shapes. Okay? I'm looking for ways to make this work with what I'm seeing in front of me. Okay, so I'm going to block in the shape. I'm actually going to hit the G key and just block it in like that. Just block it in. Okay. And then, very broadly, get the general light direction. This is a little bit saturated for my taste. Alright. So I'm not quite sure how I managed that, but yeah, that's a little saturated too. Jeez. Okay. Shrink that down so we can get a little bit of a sharp edge on those little jutting pieces. Boom. It's amazing how you can basically look at where you're at in the color wheel, and if you just click just far enough away that the circle moves, that's usually the only value difference you need. You know, it's kind of amazing how little value change our eyes respond to. It's pretty impressive, actually, how sensitive our eyes are, I guess. Okay. So, and now we will even top these like that just a bit. We're going to say they're catching a little bit of that moonlight. What about the moonlight? What about the I'm thinking about a song from the late 90s. It was by Cher, and it was on an album that did not do very well because it was a kind of a stylistic change, but it's a really interesting album full of very kind of melancholy songs, you know. Okay, N key. Well, that works. That works okay. I'm just gonna make the brush a little bigger and just kind of get some foreground in front of that. No, it's a tricky thing, learning how to, I'm not saying I'm great at it either, but learning how to do a relatively quick two-dimensional painting that gives you a sense of 3D volume. I mean, I think I do okay at it, but that's something that it took me, well, I don't know. I don't think I was any good at it really until I started doing animation, and then I sort of had to figure it out, right? Because, you know, I don't want to have to pay somebody else to paint my backgrounds, I guess, right? Okay, so I'm going to do the back across the color wheel to the complementary color, especially because in this case, it's causing the rocks to pick up a little bit of the ambient light from the sky, actually, right? So, but just those little tiny dashes of a little bit of bluish greenish does help it. Just helps it pop a little bit more. So if anybody has any complaints about my painting, you know, feel free to weigh in if you think I'm sucking too bad or something. I just do my best, people. I just do my best. And sometimes my best just ain't good enough. But, I mean, this stuff in here feels a little bit too brushy or something. Doesn't feels a little too scribbly or something of that nature. Okay, now if I look at monkey, I am going to go here, grab some red, grab my. Okay, so basically this is what we're working with. It's not exactly. In fact, actually, I'm going to fix this. I am going to take this. Yeah, I'm going to take this, and because I like the scaling there on Monkey, so what I'm going to do is actually take all of this. Okay, that was a little obnoxious. Let's undo that. Sometimes you get a good idea and then follow it up. But I will tell you that the on this painting, the liquify tool is dogging it pretty bad. Like, I haven't really seen liquify be this sluggish. God, look at that. It's delaying so much that I literally can't paint accurately. I can't, because by the time I see what I did, it's too late and I've already overdone it. That is weird. I gotta say, that is weird. I have never seen in recent history liquify being, and this is not a wimpy machine. This is a 12 core machine with 32 gigabytes of memory. And a somewhat aging, but still pretty darn good, video card. But yeah, look at that. That is bizarre. Makes me want to close Krita and reload, but put it this way, friends. It would be faster to repaint stuff than to do what I'm doing. It would be faster to just like take the brush and say, okay, these spikes need to be a little taller. Okay, let's just paint them taller. This is basically what I was trying to do. So rather than fight it, I'm just going to block it in. And remember, I can always go in any time and punch up the detail or whatever. For now, the important thing is just having something to work with that we know is pretty accurate to what we're going to want in the long run. So with that in mind, I am going to do that. Okay? And then I'm going to actually put it in erase mode and chisel a little bit back out. Chisel, chisel, chisel. Okay, back to Monkey. Let's get to the task at hand. Okay, if we look at the animation stuff again. Okay, yeah, so he's peering out. And then we've basically got a couple things he needs to do. So I'm going to say, let's actually take Monkey. We'll shrink him a little bit, but then we'll raise him up so that we've got some room to get his legs in the shot. Okay, and I'm going to use this on the other screen. That's what I'm going to be looking at as reference. Just so I can make the jump cut look pretty close to what we had in the prior shot. So Monkey had one hand on his hip. His tail was flailing around. And with that, I think I'll kill that, kill that, kill that. Well, we can't kill that. So unfortunately, we have to have Monkey in the background, but it is what it is. The world will keep turning. Okay. So this is our pencil test. So we'll call this PT. And we will insert a keyframe. And now we're just going to basically block in the timing of it. So let's do this the Ross Payne way, which is to say, boom, bop. Okay, right here, I'm going to go ahead and insert a new keyframe. And now this is where I want to start having some fun with really doing some characterization and, some acting. So here, and I'm going to go ahead and redraw this right now, just to kind of capture the characterization of Monkey. In the prior shot, we're basically looking a little more up at him. And his body doesn't really look right at all, so let's just redraw that. Let's leave the hand in there so that we can know where they are. Okay, that feels better. His weight is actually leaning a little bit forward. I think I'm going to go ahead and let... Okay, so if we're going to do that, we might as well put in a tween. I'm going to go ahead and do the skins. Okay, this arm's back here. So he's... And I'm really just drawing what's changing for the most part. And I want to anchor his weight on that rear leg. Yep, that feels pretty good. Not bad. Monkey's usually really fast to ink and paint, by the way, so I expect that'll go pretty quick. So I'm not going to draw his tail right now, but I mean, presumably we're going to put his tail in another layer where it's going to be kind of womping around a bit. Okay, that looks fine. So he leans into it. And what would he do? He's going to have the... Okay, here. Control insert. I'm going to erase this. And I just want to get the motion. So the hand comes away. And I would say in this case, honestly, this can probably be treated as a straight 3/4 view kind of thing. So that works. Erase that. Okay, back 2 frames. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, and then he's going. So, control insert, GE. I may do some sort of liquefy type, animation on his whole body, so there's a little bit of recoil. So I'm thinking his Head would go up and Control Shift I. So I'm reversing the selection. And whoops, Control Shift I again, A key. Now we want a regular free transform. Hello. Okay, it destroyed my selection. Thank you, Krita. That is a little bit rude. Okay, select everything. And now what I'm really wanting to do here is, oh come on, seriously? Something like that. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Yeah, not bad, not bad. It's pretty rough. I mean, it's pretty rough drawing, but that's okay. Monkey's an easy character to draw. So I am not concerned that this will, you know, look fine. Okay, so now what he's got to do, yeah, I really like that. I actually think that motion looks pretty good. Now, one thing, yes, I would say this hand needs to probably actually come out. So when the body's moving back, right? Okay. Everything moves relative to everything else, you know? It's like a relationship thing. Usually when one thing goes up, like right there when his head goes up, his shoulders go down. You know, there's a kind of a reaction there, like with a tail and everything. Okay, so let's get the timing. Chomp, boom. Okay, so now what he was going to do is he's going to straighten up. We can get away with a little bit of 3/4 style animation here. Just like this. Okay, so for these couple drawings here, we're going to, well, we might as well just erase this stuff. I don't want to think about his tail right now. I just want to figure out where we're going to get him to. Okay. This leg is not erase mode. We're going to cheat a little bit in the sense that we're not really going to, like it doesn't make sense that his leg wouldn't actually lift up. But that's okay, because his whole body's going to shift up a little bit. His whole weight is pressing upward, and we're not going to be thinking about whether his leg, you know, his knee cocked up higher before it landed down here. We're just not. Okay, so this is where we want to get to. And so we got to get from here to that. So let's make this a short tween. A little bit of snap and hold. This is going to be down here. Whoops. B. And so this hand that's on the hip is going to come out. Okay, that works. I'm going to say it feels to me like the tail should go up. Okay, and now, boom. I'm going to do the tail first, actually, now that I see it. So we're going to go tween, whip it down here, comes around behind him, and this is 8 frames per second, so this is probably too slow. It's probably going to turn out that we really need 3 frames, not 4, but that's okay. We'll go with it and see what we get. Okay, so these can all be deleted. And now we're just working backwards. These are all deleted. These are deleted. So I'm just using the prior drawings as the guide for the later drawings. I like that. See, now that is very Monkey. That is totally something he would do. It's like his whole body doesn't move, which of course makes my job easier, but it's actually very, it captures his attitude as a character quite nicely. Boom. So it would be bam, bam, right here. He's going to be, the hand is going to be grabbing it like that. Okay, so for our purposes, we can then delete this like that. Okay, so now we got to get from here to here, and I would say a one frame tween would be okay. Let's put the hand out here. It's not much of a change. Okay, because we want it to snap, so it's going to be vroom, vroom, and we want to have a rhythm to it. So boom, boom, bob. Okay, so here, he's going to have his hand up like this is his left hand. So I guess his. So that's what we're after. That's what we're trying to get to. Here, again, we want this. We want snap and hold animation. So from this positioning of the arm, we really just want a small change so that it can then snap to the big change. Okay, and that's just something I've learned with trial and error. Tends to look really well with 8 frames per second animation. So this should have a nice rhythm to it. Okay, and this is a little late, actually. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so now he's essentially kind of dressed, if you will, like the soldiers that he sees in the distance. And then he's going to, let's see here. Bam, right there. Okay, so this is going to be like, will erase his legs? Oh, come on, be in erase mode, you silly thing. Okay. Okay, so it's going to be this. This. Okay, erase that. Erase that, erase that. Yep, and then this is going to repeat a couple times. And Krita's being stupid and won't let me do a selection. So, hey Val, I'll join you here in half a sec. I'm ready for a little bit of a break. I'll let this animation loop. So let's turn the skins off so you guys can see what's going on. It's gonna, when we cut to the shot, it's gonna immediately push into Monkey, something like that. And then I'm just gonna let this loop while I go take a break. I'll be back in a few, and you guys can see what you think. Well, I can see what the problem is. Most of it's actually pretty good, other than little silly things like the scale of his hand being a little off here and there. But basically what's wrong here is his march needs to be at about half the pace it is, because it's supposed to be like soldiers marching. And then he's going to have his body going up and down while he's doing it. So let me make sure the timing here. Yeah. Okay. So my thinking is we'll put a transform mask on him, and we will go ahead and just set a keyframe here. And then what we'll do is, and I'm just guessing here. I'm guessing that if he goes up a little, down a little, probably that will do the trick, but we'll see. And if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. And there he's in the down position, but let's just see if it's... Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. Probably he should come down here. Up and then down, and then this should actually be coming back to this pose. I believe that's right. Let's find out. Let's see if it worked. Not bad. So through a lot of this shot, we'll be able to use basically from the second drawing on, we're going to be able to use a single drawing of his head and just animate it. Well, that's not completely true when he chirps, obviously. And then we'll put some eye blinks in there and stuff to make it bounce around a little bit more, give it a little more life. What time is it? 7:46. Going almost an hour and a half. I may go ahead and wrap up after 90 minutes, I think, tonight. Yeah, the only thing that I would say is my initial feeling about this is probably right, which is that this is a little too slow. We want to snap. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so the idea is that he's telegraphing to Luca. I mean, Luca, actually on Tianara's dialogue, she says her line, and then you hear Monkey chirp, and he's like, Monkey! And then he goes out and he looks out, because he knows Monkey's up there, and then it's going to cut to, we'll go ahead and render this right now, just so it's in there. And I guess... we'll leave the sky out of it so that it's a little clearer. So save that, and then that will allow us to go ahead and bake the camera move into the shot. So we'll give this half a second to render, and then we're going to want to come back over here. And oh boy, is that framed wrong. Okay. So what we have to do is reproduce that-ish. Why are we not really seeing... Oh, I know why. It's on best full. Let me change that. I got a little error here in how I'm set up. There we go. Okay. So now let's see if it kind of worked. Okay, not actually horrible. So the question is, can we get from here to here, and that looks about right. And if it does, the main issue would be right at the beginning of this, right here, he's not quite framed correctly. which is problematic because so what we actually might have to do is take this and roll it back a bit. That's a kludge. It's a kludge that I don't want to fix now. So let's leave this as it is. Yeah, it's just the angle of it. Obviously Monkey's kind of centered there and he's not here. If he was centered here, in other words, if this was our shot, it would probably, yeah, it would actually, you could make that work. And then the problem is it's really not close enough. So let's try that. Yeah, that actually probably going to work. And then this probably needs to be just a skosh tighter. Yeah, so that's what I call a Disney style jump cut, where you're going from, this is usually in a Disney movie, it's going to be like somebody's walking along and they're coming close to the screen, and then what happens is it's obvious that it's going to take like 12 minutes for the person to get into frame, and so Disney will just do a straight jump cut on the same shot essentially, which tends to not look the greatest, but it keeps the story moving. So I am going to even take this a tiny step even further. Yep. So the whole sequence then is yeah, not bad, not bad. It's not necessarily the most beautiful edit concept ever, but it does kind of work. Yeah, nobody's going to complain about that. Okay, and then at the end of it, he really needs to look back down at Luca, I would say. So here, probably there, we will. And let's turn off the transform mask now so it's not, no pun intended, monkeying with our drawing. So then the last thing that happens is Monkey's going to actually look back down at Luca. And I think we've got a pretty good shot happening here. Control R, let's re-render that. And then we'll see how it looks in the show, and if everything looks good, we're at 90 minutes basically, so we'll call it a night. All right, here it goes. Okay, I forgot to turn the transform mask back on, didn't I? And I really do want to see what it'll look like properly. Proper-like. So let's turn that back on. Save our work one more time. We'll do one more quick render. And then we are literally slamming into the hour and 30-minute point. And I was up pretty early this morning, so I'm probably going to crash early tonight. So let's look at that one more time. Yeah, that's perfect. That really is. I mean, that definitely tells a story. And so we can delete this out of the storyboard, and we can delete this as well. That's obviously what we just worked on. And then it's going to go back to Luca, who's going to turn back into the others. And this shot can be removed. Let me see what we have. Yeah. Okay, so we'll get rid of this. And so we'll see Luca pop back into the cave, and he's like, there's soldiers marching towards Gripson, at which Mel says, you got all that from a few chirps? Impressive. She's like, TNR's, maybe going through Gripson isn't the best idea. Well, we need food and supplies, and the woods are too thick. Vespar's no dummy. He knows the path you'd be taking. So they know they're really at risk going into to Gripson, which is the name of the village. And if they want to have any chance of finding a boat, so this is the end of the sequence. The camera's gonna obviously pull out on the mountain that they're hiding in, the cave, and that will be that. And then it's gonna wind up, once they get into Gripson, it's gonna be up to Mel to find a way to get some food and supplies for reasons I won't get into at the moment. While Luca and Tianara will try to procure a boat. So, feels pretty good. Just going to have to do ink and paint tomorrow, I would say. And once that shot's done, we're going to be up to... Man, we are going to be 3.5 minutes into episode 3, which is kind of amazing. We're cranking here. So, alright, is that it? I think so. Any comments or questions before I split? Friends, I'm sure probably not. But as you guys know, there will be more later.